Hi, Wycliffe Barrett, Xplane dedicated. Today I'm going to talk about charts. I'll see you right after the intro.
November 180 Bravo Bravo, good afternoon to you. Report your outfit. 2000 feet.
I've had a few requests and a few emails on the Facebook group saying, how do I use charts? Can you help me? What does it all mean? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and work through charts and kind of point out the areas of a chart that you need to look at and how you work with them and in conjunction, use those in conjunction with your navigation. Charts can be very confusing and there's an awful lot of information that is on one piece of paper or on your tablet or your computer. Bill Casey, a very old friend of mine from VATSIM, did this wonderful series on charts, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a couple of his chart diagrams, so I need to credit Bill Casey for the bulk of what we're going to see today and try and figure out how you use a chart in terms of navigation. Let's just go back to basics a moment and think about actually flying an IFR flight and what does that actually mean. And the best way to think about this is your house, the roads to your local motorway or highway or freeway, the roads at the end of your journey to get to, say, your friend's house, okay? So we'll think of it in those terms. So if you're in a car, you drive on what is typically known as minor roads until you get to a motorway, and to join that motorway you have to join that motorway at a particular point or join that freeway at a particular point. In America they're known as clover leafs, here they're known as junctions and roundabouts, and in other parts of the world they'll have different sayings, but you have to get onto the freeway and the highway, you join through one of these junctions and then you're on the highway. When you get towards your destination, you then have to get off the highway and down onto the minor roads and then down onto more minor roads to get to your destination, okay? So that's an analogy we're going to use. The same thing applies in flying. You have an airport at one end and an airport at the other end, okay? So your minor roads, I suppose, are the taxiways to the runway, and the runway gets you onto your A roads or your kind of major roads, and then from there you have to get onto an airway, which is your highway. And what we use is a standard instrument departure to get us onto the en route airway. And once you get on the airway, it's a case of just following the airway. You may have to change at different points, but of course you'll have waypoints that tell you where to change on those airways. When you get towards your destination, so Heathrow Airport for example, from Cardiff, I then need to get off of the airway and down onto a minor road and then down to the airport. So I come off the airway at a standard terminal arrival route. Standard terminal arrival route, and that's known as a star. All stars have names, and you arrive at the star and you descend from your airway altitude down through the star, maybe a number of different radar headings until you get onto the ILS and glide slope, which is the road off, the whole structure, the road off and down to the runway. And that is it. That's the best analogy I can give you. The thing that causes problems for a number of people is what SID they use and what star they use. The route that they've got from maybe Route Finder or EFAS or PFPX, that's fine, but then what SID do you use and what star do you use? So I'm going to talk about SIDs and stars, and that's where we'll be using some of Bill Casey's work, and hopefully I'll be trying to get our way through that. So I'm going to stop right now and I'll see you in a second. Okay, I'm back, and what we've got here is an aerodrome chart showing standard symbols and features. Once again, I've got to say many thanks to Bill Casey for producing these, and you can find all of these over on the VATSIM UK forums site, so you need to become a member of VATSIM UK to access those forums. Anyway, so what we've got here is an aerodrome chart showing standard symbols and features, and clearly what Bill has done is indicate exactly at each part of the chart what it is that you need to be looking at. At the top there, the very top right, it says airfield altitude above sea level, and that is at the top of every chart. You can see there, AD elevation 681 feet for this particular chart. As we go around, he's got obstacles, obstructions to be avoided, areas between tarmac. You've got the displaced threshold. The actual runway heading is written down there. You can see the ILS frequency in its own box there with the Morse code identifier underneath it. You've got the name of the airport, Leeds Bradford Airport there. The white markings on the runway which denote the touchdown zone, and these are the same around the world. These are standard markings around the world. Holding points and a turning area at the end of the runway. So all of these things are on here. You can look at this chart, you can pause this picture and look at this and actually identify everything that you need to in regards to the aerodrome. The next one that we're going to look at is how to select a SID, a standard instrument departure. So here we go, the standard instrument departure chart. The best way to explain this is that your standard instrument departure normally has the name of the first waypoint of your route. As you can see here, what Bill has done, he's chosen a route which is from Stansted to Edinburgh, and the first waypoint on the route is Buzzard. So you're looking for a SID that starts with the name Buzzard in your direction of flight, and your direction of flight is the runway that you're taking off on. Okay, so right now we're looking for a Buzzard departure, and for this one it is a Buzzard 6 Romeo. Buzzard 6 Romeo, looking at the route and the weather and everything else. Really straightforward. Pause the film here, read through here, look at the chart, look at what it is that Bill has indicated, and you'll find that it is really straightforward. Moving on to the next one is the standard arrival, or should we give it its proper name, standard terminal arrival route. Stars are a little bit different in that they're not always named after the last waypoint on your route. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Bill has given an explanation here of how to locate the correct star for your route, but more often than not, the star is named, it is easy to find because it comes from your travel, your route, your direction. Yeah, so the direction of flight and to the runway that you're landing on. You can always determine the runway that you're going to be landing on by the wind. And if you get your information, okay, so you get your airport information using whatever you want. There's a number of different products. I tend to use a freeware product that's available on Android and iOS, and it's called Aviation Tools. Download that, Aviation Tools. It gives you METARs for your airports and everything. It's a very, very good tool. And then you can work out your arrival. Normally, what you'd wait for is for ATC to issue you a star, but if you can get that in beforehand, it makes it very, very handy. And this final chart here basically is showing you standard symbols and features on a star chart. So these are standard symbols and features. Now you can find all of these out by going to the NATS website, NATS website, and you'll get all the charts for the United Kingdom free. If you want to get charts for other parts of the world, you can just type in the ICAO code into Google. So you can type in LEBL charts and you should get them. But of course there are payware products. There's Navigraph, their charts are excellent. Simplates, which I think is brilliant, and you can use that on your tablet, you can use it on iPad, you can use it on an Android device. There are numerous ways of getting charts, and you should never be stuck for finding them. I hope this short vlog has been useful and helpful. Look at the charts, look at the pictures that I put up, and read them and you'll understand. We'll see you soon.